What is up, guys? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC 302. We have Islam Makhachev going against Dustin Poirier, a lightweight championship belt on the line. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight. When I first saw it was announced, I was kind of excited. I think this fight's going to be fun. You know, Dustin Poirier is going to probably get one last shot at a title. He's 35 years old at this point. He is kind of hinting at a potential retirement, maybe after this fight, win or lose. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight here. Obviously, you know, Islam's a massive favorite. He's the biggest favorite on the card. I believe this is the biggest underdog. Like, I can't remember Dustin Poirier being anywhere near plus 405. So it's going to be a fun fight to talk about. We're going to talk about it, break it down, make a pick, and look to see if we can make some money on this fight. Looks like we have a ton of props out, so yeah, I can't wait to break it down. But before we get into it, if you guys could, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and then be on the lookout for the full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC 302, which will be out on the channel very shortly here. But yeah, I say we get into this lightweight championship fight. And we're going to start with the champion, Islam Makhachev. He's 32 years old, 5'10", with a 70.5-inch reach, 25-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Dustin Poirier, 35 years old, 5'9", with a 73-inch reach, 30-8, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Islam Makhachev opened up minus 600, currently minus 555. And then Dustin Poirier opened up plus 425. He's currently a plus 405 underdog. Like I said, massive favorite here in Islam, and he is the biggest favorite on the card by a decent margin. So, you know, it's a tough matchup for Dustin Poirier. I think we can all agree on that. Like, Dustin Poirier, when you match him up against a striker, you know, tends to do very well. You know, the striking of Dustin Poirier is incredible. The volume, the precision, the speed, the power for the division. But it's when guys, you know, take him down is kind of where he gets in trouble. And he's won a lot of fights where guys have taken him down. Like for his last fight, Benoit Saint-Denis went out there like a bat out of hell, took him down 3 times, got into dominant positions, gotten like mount, took his back at times, and Dustin Poirier was able to survive the first round and a half. Benoit Saint-Denis was, you know, visibly gassed, or second round. Dustin Poirier looked tired himself, but Dustin Poirier had a little bit left more in the tank than Benoit Saint-Denis, and then Dustin Poirier knocked him out. But yeah, I mean, Benoit definitely got him into some rough positions on the mat, and Dustin Poirier certainly made some mistakes. I mean, he jumped Gilly like 5 times, but ultimately was able to get the win. And it was a great win. It was a great win, and ultimately that win got him this title fight. The Michael Chandler fight. You know, Michael Chandler took him down multiple times, was able to control him, and Dustin Poirier didn't really have an answer. You know, wasn't really able to work his way back up. But, you know, was able to kind of outlast Michael Chandler. A little bit like Benoit Saint-Denis. Chandler slowed down like he typically does, and Dustin Poirier submits him in the 3rd round. But then there's other fights where he's getting grappled, is the Charles Oliveira fight, where in the 2nd round, Charles Oliveira gets on top, and that's the round. That's the entire round. Dustin Poirier survives, but, you know, doesn't work his way back up and just loses that entire 2nd round. And then the 3rd round comes around. Dustin looks drained, and Charles takes his back and submits him shortly after. And then after that, or before that, was the Khabib fight, where it is, you know, Khabib, you know, no shame in that, but, you know, Khabib took him down 7 times, wore on him, and submitted him in the 3rd round. Dustin Poirier jumped a Gilly or 2 in that fight as well. Other than that, it's pretty much striker versus striker matchups for Dustin Poirier, and he's done quite well with those. But this is not a striker versus striker matchup. This is a striker versus grappler matchup, and Islam's striking's improving quite a bit. And I think a lot of it has to do with, yes, he's making improvements in the striking, but on top of that, guys are terrified of getting taken down by Islam. It's something that they really have to worry about, and Dustin's certainly going to have to worry about getting taken down in this matchup. But yeah, Islam's striking, I think, is getting a lot better. Is he going to want to go out there and strike with Dustin Poirier for 5 rounds? No, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see Dustin Poirier stuffing takedowns here. You know, Islam is going to get takedowns. He's going to get on top, and I just really struggled to see a path to victory for Dustin Poirier, which is not a hot take. You know, he's a massive underdog. It's just, if Dustin Poirier is going to win this fight, he's going to have to either A, catch Islam Makhachev early, or B, maybe outlast Islam, maybe take him like deep waters. We've seen Islam slow down against Volk in the 5th round in their first fight. Maybe, you know, we can outlast him, but I doubt that as well. I think it should be a pretty easy fight here for Islam. I think Islam should be able to get takedowns, get control, get into dominant positions, slowly wear down Dustin Poirier, slowly cook Dustin Poirier, and eventually find a finish at some point in this fight. I'm thinking second, third, or fifth round. I don't think it gets to the second, third, or fourth round. I don't think it gets to the fifth, and maybe not even to the fourth. I think this fight probably does finish within the first 3 rounds there. But yeah, just any time we've seen Dustin Poirier grappled, I mean, it just hasn't looked great. Benoit Saint Denis fight. Michael Chandler in that fight. Khabib, and then, of course, Charles Oliveira. And Islam's a very, very good wrestler, very good grappler as well. So yeah, I think it's a tough matchup for Dustin. I'm going Islam here, and I think it's Islam by submission. So in terms of props for this fight, first of all, I mean, Islam minus 555. I see minus 700 on some book. I mean, there's nothing you can do with that. It's not even parlayable at that price. But yeah, I'm pretty confident he does win. It's just, how does he win? It's probably probably submission. The submission prop is currently sitting at plus 100. But at the same time, it also could be like a TKO. But yeah, I would lean sub. So yeah, don't mind that submission prop. And then what also I don't mind is, I think the over 1.5 is going to be a very popular play this week, because it's always a popular play in Dustin Poirier fights, and rightfully so. I have some numbers written down here. In Dustin Poirier's 5-round fights, he's had 14 of them, and here's where those fights are finishing. 2 of those 14 have finished in the first round. That's only 14%. 4 of those 14 have finished in the second round. That's 28.5%. 4 of those have finished in the third round. That's 28.5%. 2 of those have finished in the fourth round. That's 14%, and then 2 of those have went to decision. That's 14%. So as you can tell, when Dustin Poirier fights are finishing, it's typically more often than not in that second or third round. It more often than not goes over 1.5, but it finishes there shortly after, or third round. So yeah, I think a sneaky bet here might be like Islam round 2, Islam round 3. Maybe Islam round 4 if it gets there, but I think it's probably round 2 or round 3 for Islam. So if you like the over 1.5, I think it's getting hit, but I think it hits. It's now like minus 175. I think it does go over 1.5, but I don't think it goes much longer than that. I think Poirier is competent enough on the mat to survive for at least 7.5 minutes, but I think the finish is coming shortly after that, late second, third round for Islam there. So yeah. Taking a look at these Islam round props, which I think could be interesting. So basically, I might just fade round 1. Could it happen in round 1? Sure, yeah, it could. But like I said, I think Poirier is just tough enough to survive at least 5 minutes. But Makhachev round 2 plus 400, Makhachev round 3 plus 600, and then Makhachev round 4 plus 1,000. I don't mind sprinkles on those. And then, like I said, Islam by sub at plus 100 could also be interesting. And then on top of that, I really like violence in this fight. Dustin Poirier has 14 fights scheduled for 5 rounds, and 12 of those 14 have finished inside the distance. And the 2 that did go to decision, one was against Max Holloway, who we know is never getting knocked out. It's just not happening. And then the other was Dan Hooker, who also is extremely, extremely tough, and that was a back-and-forth war that went 25 somehow. See, I think this fight finishes inside the distance. I'd be fairly shocked if it didn't. So I kind of like that fight doesn't go as a parlay piece more than the Islam money line for a couple reasons. It covers Dustin's path, which is a knockout, and then it also is a much better price tag than Islam Makhachev. You're not laying minus 700 on the fight doesn't go. I think it's like minus 375 out there. So yeah, I kind of like the fight doesn't go decision as a parlay piece for this week. Under 4.5, under 3.5. So a couple different ways to attack this fight. I don't have any plays on it yet, but I do have some ideas on how to attack this fight and hopefully find some spots. It's always tough on fights where you have such a big favorite, but there are some spots that are making sense to me. So let me know down in the comments who you guys have. I've seen a lot of people on Poirier. Kind of feel like it's wishful thinking, and it would be a pretty big upset, but we've seen crazier things happen. So let me know what you guys like down in the comments in terms of a pick, a bet, anything sticking out. And yeah, that's about all I got. So thank you guys for watching. Like on your way out, subscribe on your way out, and then also be on the lookout for the full card breakdown video getting posted soon. And yeah, best of luck for UFC 302 Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. See you guys later.